Guys, welcome. My name is Dashing Dot. Today we want to talk about Escape from Tarkov, what the game is about, what the goal is in Tarkov, the state of the game is, how expensive the game is, and with what edition you should start. We also want to go through some simple items like the stash, the traders, the different meds that you have, your skills, and some tasks before we jump finally into a raid and we see how it feels to escape Tarkov. So let's jump in. On your character menu, when you start the game first time, you have a certain beginner's loadout already set up on your PMC. To better understand this, there is two things you can play in Tarkov. Your PMC, which is your main character, and that you gather your gear and that you increase your skills and all the fun things. And then there's the so-called scav or scavenger. That's usually the NPCs you encounter in Tarkov. However, every 10 minutes you can play one. And everything you get out of the raid, you can keep, you can transfer into your stash. Now there's different versions of Tarkov that bring different stash sizes. However, I do recommend that you start with the standard edition just to see if you really like the game. And if you do, you can always upgrade. There's different prices for Escape from Tarkov, especially with the standard edition, which costs 35 euros or 1600 rubles, would be 21 euros roughly. However, those versions are locked to certain regions, and only the EU version is the only one unlocked to all regions. So I do recommend buying that one. If you buy a bigger version later on, then the price you paid for the standard edition will be taken off the price that will cost you to upgrade to the next higher or the highest version. So there's no hurry or no rush for you to just go with the biggest one from the start. When you look at your stash, once you opened your character menu, then you see you get a lot of starting items like pistols and some rifles, and backpacks and meds. And I just want to go over a few of those meds. The standard med is the II2. It has 100% health, 100 health pool, and it does just heal your damaged body parts. However, later on, you will encounter medications or meds that will help you stop blood loss and do more fun things, up to the so-called grizzly that can actually heal fractures from arms and legs. You also have splints and bandages. Bandages will stop your blood loss, and splints will heal your fractured or broken legs, and therefore do exactly what I just said about the grizzly. Now, as you don't start out with the biggest and high-end gear, you want to take care of what you have and not spend too much. However, that is entirely up to you. Whether you go into a raid with a pistol, just your knife or hatchet, or fully geared with whatever you have, you bought the game and it's up to you to decide what to do. There's nobody that should tell you what you do and how you play the game. My recommendation is that at the beginning of your experience where you play Tarkov, you put some of the meds just in your secure container. That is the only thing that when you die is not lost, and everything inside it is what you get to keep. You can also put the meds into your pockets or your rig and just hotbar them by pressing 4 to 0 or drag them down to 4 to 0. Whatever you prefer. However, like I said, you don't have super many meds and you might die very often. So just put them down there, and when you need to heal up, just, go into your character menu in Raid and just right click them and use them. In Tarkov, there's about 7 traders in 11.7 and 8 traders in version 0.12. 0.12 is the next version that is to be released, hopefully anytime soon. If you look at the traders, then you will see that they have certain things on offer. Some of them offer you US goods like Peacekeeper, and Propol offers you Russian weapons and attachments and ammo. You can also see that some of these items are still black. If I press the middle mouse button or the right mouse button to examine, then I will get to know what this item is. I can double click it and check what it has and what it has to offer. When you start out the game, some of the items in your stash are not examined as well, but I already did that. In order to get them all done, you need to middle mouse button click them and just examine them all. It takes some time, so we won't do that right now, right here. Now, what is Tarkov? Tarkov is an FPS hardcore survival shooter with MMO elements. It offers you a very unique experience because, as I said, it's hardcore, and when you die, you lose everything. You can insure some of your gear with some of the traders when you go into a raid or just when you're in your stash. However, that costs you money, and you only get it back if nobody else takes it out of the raid. So when you die and a player takes your gun and it was insured, you're not getting that back. If he doesn't take it out, yes, after a certain amount of time, with this trader, an example, 12 to 24 hours, or with the other one, 24 to 36 hours, you might get it back. The goal in Tarkov at the moment, as in 11.7, is to go into a raid, either do missions that you can accept by the traders, and we'll look at that in a second, or to gather loot and, find valuable items, put them in your stash, barter them for any better items with your traders, or just sell them on the flea market or to the traders to make more money and to just increase your stash value, really. However, there are some other goals that you can also achieve, some of which are to level up your skills, and the highest level is level 51. As an example, the first skill you encounter is Endurance. Endurance skill is gained by just walking, not overweight or running. For every minute you walk or run, you get about 0.4 to 0.5 points in endurance. So, as you can see, it takes you a long time. However, the skills level up. So level 2 endurance takes 20 points up to level 9, which takes 90 points. And then from level 10 to level 51, each skill requires 100 points to reach the next level. Skills have different benefits for your character, so it's really worth looking into them. I will link you a few videos of my skill videos I made for Tarkov, so you can see how that all works out and what the benefits are and what you really want to focus on. On the skills tab, you also have your character progression with your current experience gathered and the remaining experience you need to get to the next level. Now that isn't so far important as you have to level up the traders, and we will check that out now. As you can see, Propol has certain tiers that I can buy gear from. However, only one tier is unlocked at level 1, which is tier 1 of course. In order for me to get to tier 2, there is certain things I need to achieve. First of all, I need to reach level 15. Secondly, I need 0.20 reputation with this trader. However, the version I have at the moment gives me good standing with all the traders from the start, so I don't need to do it for the first level up with this trader. And I also need to spend 1 million rubles. In this case, with all the traders, it's 1 million spent or sold. So if I sell items to this trader, then the amount goes to the amount spent. That is a good thing, because when you find items in raid that you don't want to keep, then you can just sell them to the traders. However, certain items are more valuable to certain traders. So medical items, you will always get more money from the trader for medical items than from Propol or from any other trader. The traders themselves offer you a variety of tasks that you can go through throughout your career as a PMC. And once you accept them, you can see exactly what you have to do. In this case, the first task he wants us to do is kill 5 scavs at customs and hand over 2 shotguns that I either have to find and raid or I can buy from the traders. Now he doesn't offer me any shotguns, I already checked, so I have to go and find the trader. After looking, I found that Scare actually has the shotgun I need on offer, which is the MP133. I could buy 2 of those right now, go over to him on the task tab and say turn him in. Then I give him those 2 shotguns and he says thank you very much. Now go, stroll along and kill 5 scavs, you pleb. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that in a minute. Now let's head back to the character tab real quick and go to the health section. As you can see, your body in Tarkov is sectioned in certain body parts, like your legs, your arms, your stomach, your thorax, and your head. You die instantly once your head or your thorax is blacked. However, if they bleed out, you don't die. The total health pool is 435. That means you don't want that to go to 0, and therefore you want to bring meds and you want to bring things that stop bleeding. And in order to never be slowed down, you also want to have something to cure fractured, broken limbs. If your left arm, an example, is fractured, your aim when you point with a gun at an enemy is really shaky. So you want to get rid of any fracture. However, if the arm is 0 and therefore blacked, there's nothing you can do. The same goes for your legs. You will limp through the raid unless you have painkillers or something that can cure fractures. However, if you have a fractured leg and you take painkillers, though you can run fast again, it will cost you health. You will take damage doing so. So let's check out our options to go into a raid. Not only can you take your main character, your PMC, on any raid, every 10 minutes you have the opportunity to take on a scav. Scavs are NPC enemies and you get to play one, and if you survive the raid, you can take all his gear and transfer it to your stash. If we click next, we see a variety of maps that are unlocked, and over time, with the new patches coming, there will be more maps to come. However, in our case, we were sent to customs from Papor saying kill 5 scavs. So I suggest we try that one out. When you click on a map, you have 2 times that you can select from. Most of the time, one is daytime and one is nighttime. And as you can see, they just keep going until this one's gonna be daytime and that one's gonna be nighttime. So when you play with others, it's best to tell them, let's choose right or left tick. Now in this time, and because we don't have any night vision right now, we want to choose the left tick in order to see actually what's going on in our raid. The next screen tells me I don't have a map, and I don't need a map because I know this. However, if you don't know how the maps look like, I highly recommend that you check them out on gamemaps.co.uk. There you find a variety of maps for all those raids that you can go into, and also for other games. The biggest thing you need to know about Tarkov is that you have to get a knowledge about the raid. Not just a general knowledge of where you spawn on a map and where you can extract or where other players spawn, but also while you're in the raid, listening to the sounds, knowing where those players that just shot might be. So knowledge is the key to survive any raid or be successful in any PvP encounter. In our next screen, we can actually say we want to go in offline mode. If we enable this, we have a variety of things we can choose from. We could say enable PvE, which means we get to have NPC enemies, the scavs. We can enable bosses, and on certain maps, like customs, there can be random encounters with bosses. The boss can drop valuable gear, bitcoins and lab access cards that you need to actually go into that certain map lab. However, I recommend that you don't enable that and just see if you're not sure on how to fight these NPCs to try this out. You can also set the difficulty to certain levels and their amount. If you're completely new to Tarkov, then you could run every map in offline mode and see where the extracts are. However, I do recommend that you don't. I recommend that you just bring a hatchet or a pistol and see how it feels to be in a live raid. If you die, you lose that. You lose the pistol, but that's okay. That said, whenever you go out in online mode and you walk and do stuff, you also increase your skills. That is a benefit you won't get in offline mode, because once you exit the map on offline mode, everything you farmed or gained in skills is just gone. It's reset to as when you went in. Now on the next screen, we can actually insure our gear and tell them, well, if we die, can you make sure that I get my gear back? Now, I'm a new player and I really value my AK. I also want to keep my pistol and especially my backpack because I don't have that many. So I say for 7,000 rubles, yes, I want to insure the gear with you. And if I die and nobody takes it, you just bring it back to me. On the next screen, what you will see is the so-called lobby. People can sit in the lobby, and as soon as they start looking for group, they appear in this window, and then I can right-click them and invite them to my group. Once my group is full, which is up to 5 players, I can press the ready button and we go together into the raid. However, I do not recommend that you invite randoms from that lobby, just because they might just spawn in with you, turn around and shoot you in the face. That's not very nice, and it's not very helpful. If you don't have friends, then I can recommend to watch some Twitch streamers. Just be active in the chat and you will find friends in no time. However, there are some Discords like the unofficial Tarkov Discord as well as the official Tarkov Discord that provide you with enough players willing to go into a raid with you without fucking you over. So that's very cool. So let's go into the raid and actually see what's going to happen to us. In terms of hardware, I do recommend that you have at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. The reason is this game is really hardware hungry. Your GPU is not super important, but your CPU most certainly is. I'm currently running this game on a 1050, and it's working out just fine. But I also have 32 gigabytes of RAM and an i7-8700. The first time you load into a map, it loads very slow. If you play with friends, I recommend that you preload each map that you want to play on in offline mode. You just load into the map, and once you spawned, you just disconnect. It's fine in offline because you don't lose anything. The next time you load the map, it will go way faster. When we deploy into a map, we have a little countdown timer that tells us that we're soon to be spawned in and should get ready. So if you're smoking a cigarette, put it out. You're going to need both hands, I promise. The first time you load into a map, it's going to be a random spawn location. It's going to be random every time. However, like I said, get to know the map. So you can look around and listen to sounds. With the mouse, with the scroll wheel on your mouse, you can actually lower your speed. And if you go in crouch position, you make literally no sound. And you can be very quiet. Some players prefer to sit in a bush and try to sneak through the map and see players running by and then shoot them. Again, as I said, the way you play the game is totally up to you. So let's have a look around. Our task for Papul is to kill 5 NPCs. With the B button you can switch between fire modes. With this gun I have single fire and full auto. Now, as you've seen, we killed our first NPC. And naturally, we've taken some damage. Mainly because we have no armor on. And as we're new, we don't really can afford any. Now what I can do is, in order to heal myself, I can drag this over my thorax and it will heal it up. I can hotbar it, go out and press 4 now. Or I can right click it and say use. Now once you've killed somebody, if you hover over his body, you get the search option. With F you can start searching. As you see, he's got gear that we haven't found so far, so I'm gonna start examining it. You can drag over gear from the person or the player, the NPC you killed, or you can press Alt left click to put it on if there is space. If you press Control left click, it puts it in a free slot in either your rig, your pockets, your backpack, or your secure container. As you can see, the rig, the pockets, and the backpack that he carried are not searched. That is obvious the case. Every time you find something, you have to look what's inside. So we can press the search button here and slowly figure out what he carried. Now he brought us something to drink. I might actually have that later. He also has an AK magazine for his AK. So I'm dragging that into this, into my rig, so I can actually use that too. Now his bag is considerably smaller than ours, so I won't care about that. However, I'll take the rig for now. If I don't find anything better, it's probably good to have one later on as a spare rig. As you can see, because my armor's gone, I'm shaking a little bit. If you have a scope on your weapon, you will see the shaking increases. With Alt-T, I can check how much ammo is left in the magazine. If I press the R button, I can just reload. If I double press it, I do a quick reload, dropping the mag that is currently in my weapon onto the ground. That is especially good for PvP situations. Now, we've just encountered players that are shooting us. So I'm trying to heal myself. However, my status says I have 2 bleeds and I only have 1 bandage. Since I'm running out of meds, I'm just trying to put stuff I might need into my gamma. Now let's see. We lost everything but what we have in our gamma. Now we have our scav vest that we found, and it says it with a check mark, item found on raid. That check mark will go away once I bring it into the next raid. Now let's try and actually take something better in. Escape from Tarkov not only offers this hardcore survival feeling, but also has a huge focus on modding its weapons. As you can see here, everything down here can be modded, so there's different parts for each gun, and I can mod them in all kinds of ways. If I go to the modding screen, this will be more clear. Now I don't have any spare parts because I just started out. However, later on, you will see a lot of mods in the game that you could put on your guns, and you can try out different things. This also tells you what you can put on and what you can't put on. So if I exchange this gas tube with this one, I have a rail on top, and now I can actually put a little scope on it. I could also drag this on top of the gun and have this scope. Then I just take this off. And if I want a long range scope, level 1, that's possible. So I suggest we start off with the standard AK that has the long range PSO scope on it. And we'll see how this works out for us. Now, because I'm taking this specific med item with me, I don't need to take any bandages because this naturally stops blood loss. In addition to taking guns, I also always take a pistol. The reason behind it is that when you walk or run somewhere and you use your pistol in your hands, that's the fastest way of running next to having a grenade in your hands. So people running around with the knives or hatchets are actually slower than when they have a pistol. And you're even more slower when you're running around with your rifle. In Tarkov, we have different weather conditions. Right now, it is raining. If you go inside a building, you can see that the rain gets noticeably quieter than it's outside. However, when you're inside, the rain gets noticeably quieter than outside. So you might want to take that as your advantage. Each weapon does have a certain recoil. You can reduce that recoil by just lying down, so your aim gets more steady. However, you should also look at the bottom left corner where you see your stamina. That decreases when you aim down sight. Once you're done looting, I recommend that you quickly move away from the body. Every time you heal up, this will take time. And certain meds do have longer times to apply their effect. So you want to make sure you don't heal up when you really shouldn't, because you can't fire back. Now we just finished killing our 5 scavengers, and no matter what, once we get out of this raid, we can turn the task in. The scav we just shot is a so-called sniper scav. They spawn on high locations. In most situations, unreachable for a player unless they fall down. They have scoped weapons, often night vision gear, and a very precise aim. So you want to make sure you kill them before they see you. Now we've got a fracture on our leg, and as you can see we would limp around. Luckily, we have a splint that we can apply to get rid of the fracture. It takes a moment before its effect is in, but once it is, we can just walk as normal as before. Now as you can see, though we bought the 2 shotguns previously, we could find them in Raid 2. Once your stamina is drained or in the red, you cannot jump anymore and have to wait until it's back to blue. On customs, there is this one particular spot. It's called Checkpoint. There is a sniper scav, and you actually can go there and loot this guy. So you want to make sure you kill him and get his gun, because in 90% of the time, he has a scope on it. And sometimes wears night vision gear. Now if nobody picks up my scav rig, then I will get it back from insurance. Once you're done in your raid, you want to head to extraction. There are different extractions all across each map. However, some of them are only optional, so they're not always open for you. In this case, ZB-1011 is always open, and this is the one we're going for. Once you reached it, a countdown timer will be your best friend, because once that reaches 0, you're done. You survived. Now let's head to the trader and turn our first task in. So we killed the 5 scavs at customs, and earlier we handed over 2 shotguns. Now what he wants us to do is go back to customs and find a bronze pocket watch. That's great. What we also need to do is find a key from a tank truck where the bronze pocket watch is in. So that's a little challenge. If you experience any trouble with any of the tasks, then just go to YouTube. There's a lot of videos on each of the tasks from a different variety of YouTubers and streamers that will help you find and get the task done real easy and in no time. Now that's it for me for my beginner's guide. I hope it helped you. If you have any questions, then just pop by my stream. I'll put you the link in the description, or watch my other videos about how to increase skills, how to make money on Tarkov real fast, and how to not worry about gear, where to jump on locations to surprise players, or just general knowledge about Tarkov. Also make sure to follow me on YouTube. I would really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.